Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. In today's video, we're going to once again be covering the newly released second Secrets of Dumbledore trailer, which has given us Harry Potter fans a lot to talk about. I mentioned a few of these theories in my trailer breakdown video, link in description, but I only scratched the surface of them in that video, and not all of them. So today, I'm going to be discussing, in more depth, 5 of my theories pertaining to the trailer. Let's get into it. Number 1. Where is Tina Goldstein? Okay, now we've had 2 trailers and 1 teaser, but absolutely no sign of Porpin Tina Goldstein, one of the main protagonists of both Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, as well as Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. In the previous 2 films, we were given a considerable amount of the American half-blood witch and Aura's backstory, like the fact that she attended Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and the fact that she was sorted into Thunderbird House. She's even the sister of Queenie, who's still in the film, so it seems highly unusual that she would be absent from yet another trailer. So what's the deal? Well, my answer is this. Tina Goldstein fans should rest easy, as Porpin Tina is far too intertwined into the story to be removed altogether. I can say this with confidence for a few reasons. First of all, Queenie Goldstein, Tina's sister, is still a massive part of the plot, and shows up in the trailer on several occasions. Removing her sister for no apparent reason would be a huge continuity error, and it just wouldn't make sense. I don't think they'd make a critical error like that. Second of all, Fantastic Beasts fans who are privy to Harry Potter lore should already know that Tina eventually becomes the wife of Newt Scamander, who just so happens to be the main character of the films. We also know that they go on to have children. Removing her would be far too disruptive to the film and Harry Potter canon. It would also invalidate the tension that has been building between Newt and Tina in the films released thus far. Lastly, Catherine Waterston, who plays Tina, has been credited for the role. So where is she? My theory is that Tina is hidden in plain sight. That is, we've seen her in every trailer so far, we just didn't realize it. Tina is Newt's assistant, Bunty. Now, I'm not saying that Bunty isn't an actual person independent from Tina, she totally is. But what I'm suggesting is that Tina has used a polyjuice potion to assume the physical form of Bunty. Now you might be asking, why? I think there are a few reasons for this, but the primary motivation for assuming the form of Bunty is that she's less of a target. Bunty is a very unassuming character already close to Newt, so hanging around him wouldn't really arouse any suspicion. This effectively allows Tina to act in a more covert fashion, and it might also allow her to avoid unnecessary interactions with her sister, Queenie, who has now switched sides. In the trailer, we also see Bunty acting a bit out of character, looking at Newt quite firmly and saying, "No one can know everything, not even you." There's also the possibility that since we're further along in the future, Tina is pregnant with Newt's child, staying out of the way to avoid danger. Although I feel like this one is a bit premature. What do you think? Number 2. The Blood Pact. It's well known that Dumbledore and Grindelwald entered into a blood pact when they were young. A blood pact is a type of magically binding agreement between 2 parties who shared their blood. It could be made by the parties cutting their hands with their wands and interlacing them, and making the desired oath. Upon doing this, 2 glowing drops of blood would raise from their palms and mingle into one. Thereafter, a file would take shape around it, enclosing the drop, signifying that the deal was struck and serving as a physical manifestation of it. Once made, the file was supposedly impossible to destroy. In the case of Dumbledore and Grindelwald, they made an oath never to fight each other, and Grindelwald held the file in his possession as a safeguard so that Dumbledore wouldn't be able to try and destroy it. As long as a blood pact remained, neither man could attack the other. However, in the Secrets of Dumbledore trailer, we see the file containing their blood in Dumbledore's possession. It was given to Dumbledore by Newt in the previous film. Dumbledore is staring at it, presumably figuring out a way to destroy it. And later, in that same trailer, we see the 2 men, Dumbledore and Grindelwald, fighting. If they're actually fighting, and this isn't some kind of dream sequence or out-of-body experience, then it means that the pact has been broken. We know that Dumbledore eventually defeats Grindelwald in an epic duel, but I hadn't expected them to duel so early on in the films. Grindelwald's defeated in 1945, and this film is supposed to take place in 1939, so what's the deal? Is this occurring in another dimension? Does it jump ahead to 1945? Is this the last film? Or do we still have 2 more? Number 3, For the Greater Good. At one point in the trailer, we see Dumbledore and Grindelwald sitting across from one another, having a rather intense conversation. Grindelwald says to Albus, rather ominously, "With or without you, I'll burn down their world." This is a scary line, and once again paints Grindelwald with the brush of the bad guy, and bad guy he certainly is. However, a line from that same conversation later on made me think a little bit. Staring Dumbledore right in the eyes, Grindelwald says to him, "It was you who said we would reshape the world." To me, this is big, because it suggests that perhaps Grindelwald's plan of restructuring the world for the greater good, establishing a new world hierarchy, and enslaving Muggles was actually the master plan of Albus Dumbledore. He just brought Grindelwald along for the ride. Up to this point, we were led to believe that the 2 boys co-created everything, even the slogan. But what this could suggest is that Dumbledore was the original diabolical mastermind, only leaving his plans behind and gaining perspective after the death of his sister. 4. Yusuf Karma. Yusuf Karma, born in 1884, was a French pureblood wizard of Senegalese ancestry. His character is a little all over the place in the films, and he's not exactly a good guy, but he doesn't appear to be evil either. He's grey, at least from what we can tell so far. When we're first introduced to Yusuf, he's hell-bent on killing Credence, and that's because he believed Credence to be Corvus Lestrange, the son of Corvus Lestrange IV, a man who would use the Imperious Curse to marry Yusuf's mother. He was also acting under an unbreakable vow, imposed by his father, that had him seek revenge by killing the person who Lestrange loved most in the world. After learning that his vow was void, due to Corvus already being dead, Yusuf started to display a more moral and selfless side, and was not at all tempted by Grindelwald's persuasive speech at the Lestrange mausoleum. At this point, Karma risks his life to save Nagini from the Black Fire, and then helps Nicola Flamel, as well as his former enemies, by conjuring purifying orange flames. But in the new trailer, I'm not entirely sure where Yusuf's allegiance lies. In some scenes, he's with the good guys. He's even on the train with them. But in others, he can be seen standing behind and interacting with Grindelwald, as if he's an acolyte of Grindelwald's. So what's the deal? Provided that there's a scene in the trailer where Grindelwald is using his wand to extract something from Yusuf, I'm willing to bet that he has manipulated Yusuf in some way, in order to bring him over to his side. Perhaps he offered to take away Yusuf's painful memories from childhood, or maybe he took away the memories of him allying up with Newt and gang, or maybe, just maybe, he used the Imperious Curse to bring Yusuf under his control. Number 5. The Mirror. In the trailer, we see who has been revealed to be young Aberforth Dumbledore staring into a mirror as words begin to form. This scene has been in both trailers so far. The only problem with this part of the trailer is that the sentence is incomplete. We're only given a little bit of it. So what does it say, and where do these words come from? This mirror, if you didn't know, is of course a two-way mirror, one in a pair of mirrors that are magically connected. This type of magical artifact allows people to communicate with each other while in different locations. Immediately after seeing Aberforth, it cuts to Albus, so clearly the two are using mirrors to communicate. What message did Albus send to his brother? All I can make out is, do you know, the top, with the standalone sections of WH, I, S, and IKE at the bottom. It also looks like there's a question mark at the end of the sentence. I spoke with one who helps run Harry Potter Theory Espanol today, and he seemed to think that it might say, do you know what it's like? This would effectively be dropping an emotional bomb onto his brother, which could make sense given that Aberforth blames him for so much. However, it's also possible that this text isn't significant at all. Later in life, Albus says the following of his brother. Of course, I'm not entirely sure he can read. It sounds like a joke, but maybe there's some truth to it. Who knows? What do you guys think it says? I'd love to hear what you think. And that's it for this video. If you enjoyed the content, please like the video and subscribe to support the channel. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.